Right now, I'd like to introduce a lady who truly inspires me. She's a real powerhouse. She is none other than Ambassador Janet Ang, Singapore non-resident ambassador to the Holy See. Come on, Janet. She will take the stage and to present to us creative leadership in a community development, titled Creative Leadership for Alliance Building in a Divided World.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Pam. Good afternoon. Wow. Okay, I'm going to learn the past few days. You know, we have an energetic little chili party in Singapore, we will say. That means small chili, small size, but power pack. She always makes us do exercise. So, you know, I'm going to make you do exercise. Lift up your hands. Oh, okay, wave. All right, thank you very much. All right, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with all of you. Lawrence, thank you very much. Now, you know, this morning was thank you to all the speakers. It was fabulous. You know, like they say, you can only share 3 things. So if I give you all that I've learned this morning, you will be here the rest of the day. So 3 things. One is, and hopefully I want you to think about these 3 things while you listen to my speech. It was said this morning, faith over fear. So have faith. Second, awaken our consciousness. All right? And the third one, by Cardinal Cardele, he says, creative leadership is life-giving. So I hope in my next 10 minutes, I will share with you some points which can be life-giving, to awaken our consciousness, to have faith over fear, and to do something about it. All right. So if I may, let me start with a quote from my president of Singapore, President Tharman. He recently said, and I quote, "We must remain a people whose well-being is tied up with each other, with each others, and who look out for those who are disadvantaged." Guess in that one quote, no need to be just for Singapore, but for everyone, if we can just think about that. Okay, so in my 10 minutes, what did I do? Okay. In my 10 minutes, I will speak to 3 questions for our reflection. A, why alliances matter. B, what kind of leadership is needed. And C, what are some approaches to building alliances? So what is the importance of building alliances? I think a lot has been said. Bad news every morning when you wake up and read the news. All right, so the world today is a troubled one, whether it's wars, political polarization, economic inequality, religious and ethnic conflicts. They are all pulling nations and people apart. The rules-based world order, which was put in place after World War II and has led to a relatively peaceful era over the past 50 years, is faced with significant challenges and in danger of crumbling. It's a pity that Jim has to step away because he was party to creating the World Trade Organization, WTO, that in a way has brought us relative peace over the last 50 years. Now, another big thing that has gone deficit is trust in its institutions is eroding and conversations are being replaced by confrontations. And hence the importance of building alliances is more now than ever before. Agree? Okay, all this is part of keeping you awake. So agree? Yes. Thank you. Okay, so what kind, What kind of leadership is needed? Well, alliances can only be built if people from across the aisle, in a parliamentary chamber, across the borders, across the oceans, across diverse perspectives, across divides of every sort, make effort to come together to listen, to reflect on common grounds, and to take actions not just simply for your own individual self-interest, but for the common good. So what kind of leadership can help mend this broken world? Not dominance or control, but qualities like empathy as opposed to ego, deep intentional listening, and moral clarity. Leaders today must go beyond partisanship. They must be willing to include diverse voices, women, youth, and like Pope Francis always say, those in the peripheries. all their voices have got to be listened to. So leaders who can build alliances are bridge builders, willing to embrace dialogue, resolve differences, and foster collaboration. They are leaders with moral courage. Now, the late Pope Francis has been one such leader. His Holiness offers a powerful moral voice in this global conversation. In Fratelli Tutti, which Monsignor Indonil referred to just now, he calls for a better kind of politics, one rooted in care, justice, and community. He critiques what he calls the globalization of indifference, where we ignore suffering because it is not our own, somebody else's problem. And through Laudato Si, he reminds us that the cry of the earth is also the cry of the poor. And on the subject of artificial intelligence, thank you to our speakers earlier, Pope Francis urged global leaders to regulate AI toward the pursuit of peace and the common good, and emphasize that innovations must avoid a technological dictatorship. Powerful words. Now, Pope Francis's successor, Pope Leo XIV, looks set to follow in the footsteps of his predecessor. At his first special audience with the media community after he became Pope, his first words to them were, "We must say no to the war of words and images. Disarm words." These are but some of the men and women who led with moral courage and authority and succeeded in building alliances and making history. I wouldn't, please, tribute to them. So what are some creative approaches of building alliances? So I'll share with you a few examples. First, since we are in the Vatican City, let me start with the Vatican's way of building alliances, both within the Catholic Church and beyond. Within the Church, about 1.4 billion people, there will be differences in perspectives and that need to be bridged. One of the Catholic Church's key responses to building differences is the synodal process, a journey of collective discernment. It means walking together, listening together, and deciding together. This approach includes voices from all walks of life, especially women, youth, and marginalized groups. It's a model for inclusive governance that others, religious or secular, we can all learn from. Next, allow me to share a Singapore example of building alliances in a multiracial and multi-religious society. With a population of about 5.5 million comprising Chinese, Malays, Indians, and Eurasian people, and being ranked the world's most religiously diverse country, where all the major world religions are represented. Brian, thank you very much for your Pew survey that got us this renowned data point that we are the world's most religiously represented. Strengthening inter-religious harmony has to be a core value of Singapore. So besides establishing social institutions governed by legislations, such as the Presidential Council for Minority Rights, the Presidential Council for Religious Harmony, Singapore implemented what I think is a creative leadership approach to building alliances ground up. We call them the Racial and Religious Harmony Circles. These harmony circles serve as local grassroots networks, fostering trust among different community segments, such as grassroots and religious leaders and worshippers. They are also trained to work with community and religious stakeholders to respond quickly to issues and incidents that involve racial or religious tensions. And one key requirement is to help everyone understand the other. All right, and I'm also very happy to introduce to you the Being Bridges. I don't know where they are. Please wave your hands. They even got a VR set that is used by these grassroots leaders, all right, to help you to put yourself in the shoes of others to better understand. So, catch them later. Thanks, Belle and Basil, for the good work. Now, that is within Singapore. Of course, it can be replicated elsewhere, and please do see what we take whatever you like. All right, that's one way of building alliances, which is the economy of communion style. All right, so to build alliances beyond Singapore, our leaders have taken the approach of sharing our development experience on governance, sustainability, education, technology, etc., with the objective of helping other nations grow while building strong diplomatic alliances. So the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Singapore Cooperation Program, SCP, has quietly built friendships with over 170 countries by using this soft power of work, creating goodwill through generosity and learning. This is soft diplomacy at work. I would like to highlight one such program under this SCP, and that is the Women and Leadership Program. This is a 5-day program that brings together women public service leaders across the globe with the aim to help the female officials develop the critical leadership skills to navigate challenges in the workplace and build alliances with the various participants in their cohort. So besides seminar sessions and learning journeys, participants also have the opportunity to engage in dialogue sessions with various female political office holders and senior female industry leaders in Singapore to exchange insights and gain new perspectives. Humbly yours have had the opportunity to attend several of these sessions, and definitely it is alliances in the making. It is hoped that these women leaders, when developing policies back home, will be empowered to incorporate lessons and perspectives they have learned from the program, and the relationships and alliances established may be helpful in time of need. Now, I know the men in the audience were saying, hey, Jana Ang, how come only the women leaders? All right, look at any of your leadership, the women are few and far in between. And they may not be at the level to actually have the opportunity to sit at the same table as, most men do, to discuss and to learn and to connect. Hence, the specific focus intentionally on women leadership is so that we can be great partners to the men. Well, if I may give a sideline, original title for me is Creative Women Leadership. So I told Lawrence, we are talking about a divided world. Why do I want to divide myself with you? We are all leaders. Okay, and the next one, I will call it Coffee, Tables and Chairs, a platform for dialogue. Now, in November 2015, the first ever meeting between political leaders from both sides of the Taiwan Straits, that is, China's President Xi Jinping and Taiwan's President then, Ma Ying-jeou, took place in Singapore, their first ever meeting of such. In 2018, Singapore obliged when asked to host the historic Trump-Kim summit. And just 2 weeks ago, defense and security chiefs from 47 countries around the world convened in Singapore at the 22nd Shangri-La Dialogue, a platform for dialogue to avoid misconceptions, miscalculations, misinterpretations that can lead to catastrophic outcomes. These are all examples of approaches to bridge building. Now, for Singapore, we do not see ourselves playing the role of interlocutor or mediator, right? But if the parties are ready to dialogue and they need coffee, tables, and chairs to begin their conversation, Singapore will be ready to provide coffee, tables, and chairs. We might add cookies to it. And if and when our opinion and perspective is sought, Singapore will be prepared to share our views and add value to the process. This is the Singapore way of building alliances. Now, we are all here with Lawrence and the councillors and many friends from the economy of communion community to participate in this Shape the World Summit. It is an inspiring approach ignited by the vision and passion of Chiara Lubick, founder of the Focolare movement, to uplift the poor by creating an economy of communion where profit, purpose, and planet can go together. Lawrence can tell you much more. So, economy of communion and the Consular's family of networks is certainly another example of alliance building platforms. And finally, indulge me with one of my Janet Ang's chicken soup stories. After lunch, I got to give you some chicken soup story. Now, I was an IBMer for more than 30 years, but don't worry, Microsoft, you're my good friends. And one story I have to share is when I was part of the merger between American MNC IBM Personal Computer Division and the Chinese company Lenovo Group. I was living and working in Beijing as IBM Vice President of the Personal Computer Division, Greater China, when the merger was struck. It is a case of West meets East, since the elephant was purportedly being swallowed by the snake. In Chinese, 蛇吞象. Suffice to say that I was devastated. All right, I had 4 children in tow with a husband. We've moved to Beijing and I am sold to a Chinese company. Now, after a lot of discernment, thinking, and praying, I decided to view it as a mission of building alliance between US and China by playing my part to take a Chinese company global. So I know, Lawrence, I always say that Consulas and Lawrence is so courageous and brave, What can a small Singapore company do to shape the world? Right, okay, I take back, okay, because Jana Ang, no, small little Jana Ang think that she participate by carrying on with that merger to take a Chinese company global and to build bridges between the United States and China. So, to cut the long story short, my 4+ years with Lenovo was an assignment that IBM could not possibly have given me. I was part of the global leadership team that took Lenovo on the world stage, turned a loss-making business profitable, instituted IP rights. From then on, all Microsoft licenses on PCs became legal. No more pirated. And lastly, on a personal basis, being a non-athlete at all, I had the honor of running in the 2008 Olympic torch relay in Jingganshan, China, and made some very dear friends on all sides of the globe. The chairman of Lenovo referred to me as a qiaoliang, that is, a bridge builder between West and East. So that's my chicken soup story. Now, as I close, I leave you with a question for reflection and one quote to encourage us. The reflection question, okay, you all are not taking notes? Now, how can you do your part personally or as a business to build alliances? How can you, or I have to say, and I, do our part personally and as a business to build alliances? And this is the quote. The quote is from Pope Leo XIV to all the ambassadors accredited to Holy See during a special audience on May the 16th, just before the inauguration Mass. And I quote, "My ministry has begun in the heart of Jubilee Year of Hope, a time of conversion and renewal, and above all, an opportunity to leave conflicts behind and embark on a new path. Confident that by working together, each of us in accordance with his or her own sensibilities and responsibilities can build a world in which everyone can lead an authentically human life in truth, justice, and peace." Unquote. With that, thank you very much for your kind attention, and let's have, what shall we say again? Let's shape the world.